can we quickly have Conrad to come up and so Conrad's going to talk about. So we're moving now on to student work and startups. So this is some student work we've done at the International Space University, Southern Hemisphere
Space Studies Program.
Space Studies Program, SHSSBP, in Adelaide. I attended this year and took them around and showed them some GPS. But this is a summary of the final project that you all did of the white paper. And I'm going to hand over the chair to June from here. Let's get started.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. So I'll just be very quick. So the Southern Hemisphere Space Studies Program is a program run in the summer at the University of South Australia by the International Space University. There's a Northern Hemisphere program run in the Northern Hemisphere summer, which is a bit longer. This is a short, intensive program. Briefly touch on the course and the white paper that we created. So the International Space University promotes all its courses with its 3 I's. So it's interdisciplinary, international, and intercultural. So what does that mean? Interdisciplinary. These are the range of topics that we covered over the 5 weeks that we were there. Andrew Dempster was a lecturer. Michael Davies, as well as Michael Smart, who were both here yesterday, were guest lecturers as well. And over there we've got John Connolly from NASA. So we had a good range of people teaching us. International. So ISU is 30 years old now, over 4,000 alumni and represented by 100 different countries. So there's a global network there. So it is quite international. Once you've been through the course, there's the access to a range of different people and organisations. Intercultural. So we had 39 people on our course from 11 different countries, and most of us didn't work in the space industry, including myself. I think we were all aspiring to get into the course and get into the industry. So it's a very good course if you get a chance to go and participate in it. We worked on a white paper. So the white paper was about small satellites in the global south. And we pretty much spent the majority of those 5 weeks when we weren't in class working on this white paper and doing research. Just continue to talk about the intercultural part of it. There's a Mandarin version of the paper as well, as we had a large representative from China. The mission statement for that white paper was to demonstrate to nations of the global south the benefits of what we were calling the small satellite revolution, which I don't need to explain to you guys here, what the socio-economic benefit would be. So really, this paper was aimed at speaking to nations in the global south, everyone below the Tropic of Cancer, speaking to their, I guess what you call decision makers, whether they were politicians or people in industry or academia. It was there to show them the benefits of using small satellites for their nation. It may seem a little obvious to everyone in this room as you're in the industry, but the intent here was to, I guess, bring nations that aren't necessarily making use of small satellites into the fold of using those. So these were the 4 issues that we identified: national security, crisis management, telecommunications, and resource management. These were the 4 areas and 4 potential applications for small satellites that we, from our research, we believe was something that small nations of the global south would be interested in. We worked on 5 case studies. One was a high altitude balloon launch to do resource management, and that took place in South Australia. We got to speak to Flavia, the CEO from Fleet Space, who's working on Internet of Things low Earth orbit satellite network. We covered the emerging space nation of Mexico. So Mexico's had a space agency for years, but it's only recently that that agency's been engaged, reinvigorated as a result of the small satellite revolution. Microsatellites for disaster management. The Philippines have launched a satellite called Diwata-1, which helps them. It's an Earth observation satellite, and it helps them when it comes to disaster management, as well as just general Earth observation. So this is a small satellite that they have launched. And then finally, a general case study on government use for satellites for security. So as I've mentioned before, national security. So things like Border Patrol and various other things. Just some photos. That was the balloon that we launched back in January. That's not its full size, it was being inflated at the time. And that's 32 kilometres up. That's Adelaide City right there, little green belt you can see around. So it was quite cool that we actually got to create or simulate a CubeSat payload and launch that up to, that balloon went to 32 kilometres, the other balloon that we did went to 36 kilometres. So there's been a talk about high altitude balloons yesterday, and it was very relevant to what we did over the summer break when we were at the course. We came up with 4 recommendations. So policy is very important for nations of the Global South. They need to engage with other nations, essentially is what that's saying. Space is international. Again, that seems very obvious, but it became quite apparent in the course that we were there with 11 different countries, people from 11 different countries, and if you're going to work in space, you're going to have to speak to the launch providers that are somewhere else, speak to other parties that are elsewhere as well. So maybe not as obvious to someone who's starting up a business and has never worked in space, but it is international. So you need to make use of that. Education sector. Look, this is exactly what the University of New South Wales is doing. The academia there is engaging their students to work on small satellite technology. And that's exactly what you need to do if you're a developing nation in the Global South. If you can create that workforce or train your students to be that next generation of the workforce, it's going to benefit your nation. Government sector, so government's there to encourage buzzword synergy between industry and academia. So there's work for the government there to do, and perhaps we'll see what happens. There was some talk about Australia and the Space Agency and policy internally yesterday. Let's see what happens there within Australia, but other nations, that's quite important. And finally, the private sector, which I think is the focus of a lot of the talks today. So the private sector needs to basically engage in the market and bring that next step for, again, what we were calling the small satellite revolution. So that's essentially a summary of the course and of the white paper. It was 5 weeks that we worked on that. You can download the paper from that link there. There's a video presentation as well. And we also found out that ISU doesn't only stand for International Space University, but also Insufficient Sleep University, because we were working non-stop to get that white paper done, and we got it done just in time. So that's it, International Space University, Southern Hemisphere Space Studies Program. Any questions?
Sorry, I think we have to take questions maybe a bit later at the afternoon tea,
No
in the interest of time, because we're almost going to completely miss our afternoon tea. Thank you for the presentation. I'd like to invite Michael Morris and Isabel to come up to give a talk on the Melbourne Space Program.